What if one of the Vatican's most treasured classical sculptures was actually created by Michelangelo as an elaborate hoax? In 1506, a remarkable discovery was made in a Roman vineyard near the Colosseum. Workers unearthed what appeared to be an ancient masterpiece, the Laocoon sculpture, depicting a Trojan priest and his sons being attacked by sea serpents. But what if this wasn't an ancient work at all? What if the great Michelangelo himself created this ancient sculpture, orchestrating its discovery and fooling the world for over 500 years? The Laocoon sculpture represents one of the most significant discoveries in Renaissance art history. Standing over 2 meters tall, this marble masterpiece depicts the Trojan priest Laocoon and his sons in their fatal struggle with sea serpents sent by the gods. The sculpture is renowned for its dramatic portrayal of human agony, complex composition, and extraordinary anatomical detail. Art historians have called it the prototypical icon of human agony in Western art. The story comes from Virgil's Aeneid. Laocoon warned the Trojans not to accept the wooden horse from the Greeks. The goddess Athena, supporting the Greeks, sent sea serpents to kill him and his sons, a divine punishment for his interference. The Roman writer Pliny the Elder described a sculpture of Laocoon in his Natural History, written in the 1st century CE. He called it a work superior to all paintings and bronzes, and claimed it was carved from a single block of marble by 3 sculptors from Rhodes: Agasander, Athenodoros, and Polydorus. For centuries, this description was accepted as referring to the Vatican Laocoon. But there's a problem. The Vatican sculpture isn't made from a single block of marble. It's composed of multiple pieces joined together. This discrepancy is just the first clue in our mystery. On January 14th, 1506, a landowner named Felice de Fredis discovered the sculpture in his vineyard near Santa Maria Maggiore in Rome. Within hours, Pope Julius II sent his architect Giuliano da Sangallo to examine the find. According to historical accounts, Sangallo brought along a young artist who immediately recognized the sculpture from Pliny's description. That artist was Michelangelo Buonarroti. Timing is interesting. Michelangelo was in Rome working on Pope Julius II's tomb. He was 31 years old and already famous for his Pietà and David sculptures. The Pope quickly purchased the Laocoon and displayed it in the Vatican. Discovery electrified the art world. The sculpture became an immediate sensation, influencing generations of artists and establishing a new standard for emotional expressiveness in art. But what if this ancient discovery was actually a contemporary creation? What if Michelangelo, the artistic genius of the age, had created the sculpture himself and arranged for its discovery? In 2005, art historian Dr. Lynn Patterson published a controversial paper suggesting that the Laocoon sculpture might be a Michelangelo forgery. Her evidence is compelling and multifaceted. First, there's the physical evidence. The Michelangelo forgery theory points to the construction of the sculpture itself. Unlike Pliny's description of a single marble block, the Vatican Laocoon is made of at least 7 separate pieces of marble joined together, a technique Michelangelo was known to use. Joining techniques and the type of marble used are consistent with Renaissance methods rather than ancient ones. Modern analysis has revealed tool marks that some experts believe are more consistent with 16th century sculpting techniques than ancient ones. Then there's the motive. In 1505, Michelangelo was facing financial difficulties. His commission for the Pope's tomb was massive, but payments were irregular. Creating and discovering an ancient masterpiece could bring both fame and fortune. Most importantly, Michelangelo had a history of forgery. Early in his career, he created a sleeping Cupid sculpture, artificially aged it, and sold it as an ancient work. When the deception was discovered, instead of ruining his reputation, it actually enhanced it, demonstrating his ability to match the ancients in skill. Stylistic evidence is perhaps most compelling. The Laocoon's exaggerated musculature and emotional expressiveness bear striking similarities to Michelangelo's known works. His deep knowledge of anatomy and his interest in depicting physical struggle are evident throughout the sculpture. The timing also raises questions. There are gaps in the historical record of Michelangelo's activities just before the discovery, and his immediate recognition of the sculpture upon its unearthing could suggest prior knowledge. More recently, researcher Francesco Colafemina has expanded on Catterson's work, finding additional evidence supporting the Michelangelo forgery theory. He points to specific anatomical details that appear in both the Laocoon and Michelangelo's confirmed works. Despite these intriguing theories, most art historians still attribute the Laocoon sculpture to the 3 Rhodian sculptors mentioned by Pliny, dating it to the early 1st century CE. One strong counter-argument came in 1906 when archaeologist Ludwig Pollock discovered what appeared to be the missing right arm of the central figure in a stonemason's workshop in Rome. The arm's discovery, 4 centuries after the main sculpture, suggests authentic ancient origins. Modern scientific analysis of the marble has provided mixed results. While some tests suggest an ancient origin, others remain inconclusive. Art authentication methods continue to evolve, but definitive proof remains elusive. Many experts point out that the Renaissance art controversy surrounding the Laocoon ignores the sculpture's stylistic consistency with other Hellenistic works. They argue that the emotional expressiveness that seems so Michelangelesque was actually a feature of Hellenistic sculpture that influenced Michelangelo, not the other way around. When we compare the Laocoon to other Hellenistic sculptures like the Pergamon altar, we see similar dramatic tension and emotional expressiveness. This Renaissance art controversy might simply reflect how much ancient art influenced Renaissance masters. Throughout art forgery history, few cases have generated as much scholarly debate as the Laocoon controversy. But the world of art forgery is filled with fascinating stories of deception and detection. Consider Han van Meegeren, who forged lost Vermeer paintings so convincingly that experts hailed them as masterpieces. When accused of selling Dutch national treasures to the Nazis during World War II, van Meegeren had to prove he was a forger, not a traitor, by painting another Vermeer while imprisoned. More recently, Wolfgang Beltracchi fooled the art world for decades with forgeries of various artists, earning millions before being caught when he used a modern pigment in a supposedly early 20th century painting. When compared to other famous art forgeries, the Laocoon case stands out for its potential impact on our understanding of classical art. If true, it would be one of the oldest and most influential forgeries in history, having shaped Western art for 5 centuries. Today's art authentication methods include advanced techniques like X-ray fluorescence, carbon dating, and digital analysis. But even these sophisticated tools can't always provide definitive answers, especially for works as old and complex as the Laocoon. Whether ancient masterpiece or Renaissance forgery, the Laocoon sculpture has profoundly influenced Western art. Its discovery or creation helped spark the Renaissance interest in classical forms and emotional expressiveness. If the Michelangelo forgery theory is true, it doesn't diminish the sculpture's artistic value. In fact, it might enhance our appreciation of Michelangelo's genius, not just as a sculptor, but as someone who deeply understood ancient aesthetics and could recreate them perfectly. This Renaissance art controversy challenges our understanding of one of history's most celebrated artists. Was Michelangelo not just a creator of original masterpieces, but also a master forger who fooled the world? The case reminds us that art history is not fixed but constantly evolving. New evidence, new techniques, and new perspectives continue to reshape our understanding of even the most famous works. The mystery of the Laocoon sculpture remains unsolved. Is it an ancient masterpiece that influenced Michelangelo, or a Michelangelo masterpiece disguised as an ancient work? Perhaps we'll never know for certain. What we do know is that the boundaries between inspiration, imitation, and forgery have always been blurry in the art world. Great artists borrow, steal, and transform, and sometimes they deceive. What do you think? Is the Laocoon an ancient masterpiece or Renaissance forgery? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this exploration of art forgery history, hit the like button and subscribe for more videos about history's greatest mysteries and controversies. Next week, we'll explore another fascinating mystery from the ancient world. Until then, keep questioning the stories we take for granted, because history is full of surprises.